Good morning. It is currently April 3rd, around 20 after 11. And I'm looking at setup here for futures trade off of bounce right here. If you notice, this is an SPY chart, which only shows regular trading hours. And that's the way I like to look at trend lines. Usually I like to look at just regular trading hours. So I'm thinking that this trend line here, which is coming off of a low made yesterday, right? Actually, two lows made yesterday coming into here should cause a bounce. And the trade, obviously, the trade would not be to use SPY. The trade would be to use ES futures coming in here into this 247.50 area. Internally, I think it's supportive because if you look at what's going on internally, we're bearish, but we're not that bearish. We got some numbers here, 2 to 1 negative on both sides. This AD is pretty negative, 1732, and we definitely have very negative ticks. So first thing you might be thinking is like, okay, well, kind of a long responsive trade doesn't make sense because the internals are quite bearish. Well, they are, but there's also internals are like context within context, and the internals are within context of a tempo that's very, very slow. And you may not be able to see that in this video. This is something that you'd have to kind of think back on. You're gonna be watching this probably after the day is over, and you got to think back. What was Friday morning like? Did we come down hard and fast from the highs, or was it a slow grind? It was more of a slow grind. And I think that, coupled with the fact that it's coming into the midday period, if the trade triggers and comes down there, it'll be around 11:30 a.m. Eastern. More than likely, this is probably an area where you're going to get some chop, and it favors the bounce upwards. So I think it kind of makes sense. So I'm seeing that futures area right at about 24. I'd say 24.7350 is where it starts. So I'm going to go down there and place some orders right away already, so that I'm ready for it. I'll put one at 375 and I'll just start there and we'll build it up if we go a little bit lower or bounce regardless. And we're going to just watch internals as we get there. It'd be good if we had like a tick flush going into it, showing kind of an extreme tick move. But we'll see if we can get a fill here and then a subsequent bounce. And bounce wise, what we're going to be looking for in this volatility is a minimum of 5 points. And notice that I'm going to show you this here as well. This is also a overnight support area here. This is a 24-hour chart. Notice that at 1:30 a.m. this morning there was a low at 74.25. So that is also interesting that there's a tie-in here as far as the trend line area is concerned, right with prior lows overnight. This low here is 24.7625. So again, I think being here at the 73.74 level is probably a good bet. And again, as I was saying, as far as a bounce, we're going to be looking for a minimum of 5 points, more like 10 points, I think, because this 200 period moving average here will probably pull prices to it. And notice also that we have support here, and that old support is going to become new resistance. So the thought process is we go like this, and we come here, and we go right back to that line. So we'll be looking for a move from about 75 to 85, essentially, if we were to get it. You can see here we're getting a little bit closer, 76, 75. Again, we're looking for about in the 73 area. I'm just looking at my support area. Yeah, I think that's basically it. I'm going to put in another one there. Let's look at our chart. Okay, we're coming closer. Tick's holding pretty negative, but again, we're looking for a bounce here. This is not going to be any sort of like a huge return to the high of the day or anything like that. So we're just looking for a little bounce. And a flush into this area would be great if we could get a little bit of a flush into this area. That would be fantastic. I'm wondering as we wait for this if it makes sense to do a little scalp off of this 84 here, right? Because this has got to be resistant up in here if you think about it. Switching to a 1 minute, right? Coming up to this where we know that we had all this this sort of floor here is going to become like a new ceiling here at 84. That's probably worth it for a quickie. See if I'm right or not. I would think so. You've got a lot of support there where you came down multiple times to an 84 low. I'm actually going to be a little bit lower just to see if it can get up there. And that might not happen. That trade might not happen. But I'm saying if it does, probably on the way to getting lower, it's probably a good spot to scalp against. And that would just be for, like, let's see, 84, probably 2 points maximum we'd be looking at. But so far nothing. Doesn't look it. Doesn't look like we're going to get it. Well, maybe. Yeah, got it. And look where I put the limit order to 81.50. Notice just for the little 2-point rollback coming back down in. And there it is there, like clockwork. So that worked pretty well. So that was worth it, right? I mean, you know, $1,000 in 10 seconds, not even, right? Just against a level right there that was very, you know, made sense that futures were just going to react there, basically. It just made perfect sense to do it, right? And it paid. And we're obviously rolling back a bit lower, but, you know, so we probably could have stayed short, but that's fine. Don't really care too much about that. More interested in the buy down here, getting us off the trend line. And here's the SPY coming in. Yeah, I think 73 is where we want to be. And that's pretty much it. Maybe not. We might not get it. Look at this. There's 48 contracts at the lows just now. We just had a market profile, kind of a signal. Could have had low of the day. I'm not sure. Oh, sorry about that. This is getting too big for the video. There. Look at this. Look at the signal here at the lows. Low contract number. Right. 48 contracts at the lows. Oftentimes when that number gets down to like a 2-digit number or a 1-digit number, that could be the low of the day. We'll see. We shall see. And you see the support coming in here, right? Starting to lift in. So, and see the ticks here getting positive. So maybe we need to just buy a little. We can risk a little bit of profit. Just getting a little bit long here, right? A little bit maybe ahead of it. See, if these ticks start to go really positive, then that was it. That was going to be the low. Problem is, you know, the location isn't that great. Like, you know, so I'm more tentative about getting bigger size on because the location isn't the greatest. See if we pick up some more at 83.25. Tick's not really getting positive, not much. Now, if we were to rally up, I would say we probably go to about 91 if it was to wake up, but we'd have to really see. You see how the ticks are not really doing anything here? How you're not getting any above zero action. So what we'll do, we'll put a stop where we are. Why not, right? Now that we've started to lift off of it. And again, our target here would be 91. So put it out at 90.75. The reason I say 91 is because of this action here. Right here. You see the 20 MA? The 91 corresponds to this. Oh, we got stopped out. All right, so we got stopped out at 83.50. All right, so nothing happened there. No problem. So now we're still looking for the low trade at the bottom. We're still looking to see if we can get this this 83 down here. Or yeah, exactly. Hold on. Not 83. What am I saying? The 73. Still looking to see if we can get the 73. And again, it just, look, ticks weren't able to do it. See how they just came back, kind of rolled into the red? This is building to the downside. And that's the thing with futures trading. You have to be careful. And when the tempo is, you know, I mean, the tempo is relatively slow, I would say, so that kind of plays in your favor. Fast tempo is much harder to trade, much harder. You really have to, you have to be able to you have to really just like kind of loosen things up a bit. When the tempo is slow like this, I'll keep it tight. And if, you know, I want my price, and, you know, if it doesn't do what I think it should be doing, then forget it. And notice now we're trading 81.75. So probably good that we got stopped out, break even so far. And again, we're looking at this level here. Maybe it wants to go to it. Let's see what happens now. There are the ticks again. Oh, 84. It's very hard to say, you know, if this is going to be it or not. But there really just doesn't seem like there's too much buying pressure out there. I'm not, you know, until I see that tick start to get positive, and we haven't really had it all day. Notice that that's kind of been a tell all day long, that you've just had negative tick action all day, right? And I call it the tick distribution. This is a free script that's on our website. The script basically just puts a red or green triangle if the 15-minute bar closed above or below the zero line. And notice that every single bar is closed below the zero line today. So really nothing doing on the upside. Yeah, we may have missed it. We may have missed it. There it is, 85.75. And there's your ticks getting positive. I feel like we should probably try for a little bit to take it at least up to the 91. Ah, there it goes, 86. So I think we've definitely missed it now. That was it. We probably should have been a little bit less tentative, maybe gotten in a little bit stronger. So that's the thing. This is actually kind of good educationally to look at, is sometimes the rally happens ahead of trend and you don't get it. You know, I like to wait for my price. I like to be right on it. And look, it never came down, not even really close. These trend lines will happen like right on, you know, and especially this one, it's a perfect one in that there's only been two touches. It's the anchor, it's the first touch, you know, it gets established here, and then look, it never really comes to it. So that's the thing. So what would I be looking for our next action point here? Probably nothing, because this was going to put us back into the middle of the range. So maybe there's a scalp around the 2500 level, since the futures seem to be reacting a lot to the 2500. If I look inside, I mean, you've got 24.93, 50 MA, 15 minute. this is a 24-hour chart, mind you. This is not just the regular trading hours like we were looking at the SPY. And then you've got these prior lows at the 2,500. So probably what I'd be doing right now is just looking for a move up to the 2,500 and probably shorting the 24.99, I guess, for somewhat of a rollback. And we'll see. Maybe this trend line low might still be in play, but I doubt it. At this point, the way you want to play this is that if it bounces ahead of the trend line, excuse me, bounces ahead of the trend line. This is a very important point to note. If you get a bounce ahead of the trend line, then you generally don't want to buy the trend line. You want to look at it as like, okay, that was the counter trend move that the market wanted to make. That was the little bounce action. And then the next time that it goes down through these lows, think about it, it's not going to stop, because look at how close these lows are, right? Look at how close they are. Do you think that it's going to, if it goes through here, why would it stop here? There'll probably be enough momentum. This is going to bring in a lot of sellers, taking out that little low there. And if that's coupled with, you know, internals that we already know are pretty bearish and are staying pretty weak, this is also kind of ballooned out now to 288 and 237. This is still moving lower, right? Probably not the best trade, you know? And I could be wrong about that. It might bounce, but think about it this way. This is the thing, is consistent trading over time and not blowing up is all about just this. All about the trades you don't take. There's going to be hundreds of trades, if not thousands, where you'll have this like, oh, I should, you know, I followed the rules, I didn't really want to do it, and then it worked out anyway, so maybe I should have taken that one. But that's the recipe for disaster, because next time you'll do that. You know, when you see the rule apply and it, you know, it comes close to your line or close to your horizontal support and bounces ahead of it, and then you think, oh, yeah, maybe this time it'll just come down a little, I'll just buy it, and it blows right through. Okay, that's what I'm saying. This is the road to absolute disaster. So just follow the rules all the time. So for me, if it bounces ahead and then you know, and then the line is actually just below it, I'm not going to be interested in taking it. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Unfortunately, we didn't, you know, the trading wasn't very exciting, but you know, at least I feel this is very educational. This is kind of showing you live in real time how I'm looking at the internals, how I'm looking at market profile at the same time, you know, how I'm looking at the charts, the trend lines, how it all comes together in a live environment. And we'll finish just on the profile. We'll take one last look here, if we could. And why don't we just watch this together and we'll see if it holds or not. All right, we'll see if the line actually holds or not. Because I kind of think that now it's not going to hold. So I cancel all the buy orders, and we'll see if we breach it or not, or if it actually would have turned out to be the right trade here. There is some overnight support in this 74, 73 area. It's selling off so tentatively that it kind of makes me think like maybe it is the play, that it'll hold it. You know, it's just so tentative, the selling. This is what I mean when I talk about tempo being slow. The tempo is just very slow. Tempo is simply that. Tempo just means tempo. Tempo is what? Is the speed of something, right? You have a fast tempo or a slow tempo. And to me, the tape is moving relatively slow today, I think, if you look at this, right? It can be much, much faster on a really, really bearish day. Much faster. So the line has moved up to about 74 now, just slightly. But notice here, you've got no reaction in the ticks. They're still going lower. I don't know. Tempo is just like molasses here. But look at your ticks. Look at how low they're holding. Just sitting there. Very low level with no bounces. And this is so important when you look at the ticks. A lot of people ask me, how do you read this stuff? It's not about how high. It's not about how low it goes. So you're not looking right now to see if it can hit 1,000 or minus 1,100, minus 1,200. It's about how high it doesn't go. And you can see here, it's just not, there's been literally no bounces. So this is actually quite bearish under the hood. All right, there's 74 in the futures. And this is what I was saying, is I think the potential here is to break and lose it. And that's why I'm not really interested in the trade. 73, 73.50, 73.25. So you can see, look at that, 73. We did the right thing, right? We did the right thing. It's probably not going to hold, I don't think. Now let's see if we continue to be right, if it actually does go down through. Look, now 72.75 was the low, which is kind of below the trend line, 72.50 below. So see, if I was long this right now, I'd be bailing. I'd be thinking, this is not really working here. Like, we should have a reaction like right at 74 or 73.50, boom, we should hit that area and turn. And you should see some sort of reaction very quickly in the ticks, like at least shooting back up to the zero line. Aha, 72, 71, and that's it. So it's not happening. The trend line is not holding. So I'm actually glad this worked out this way. So there, no trade. I wasn't able to do a trade, but this is actually more important than doing a trade. This is showing you what are the instances where you don't buy a trend line and you keep what little you have, from earlier in the day. Not that this is any great shakes, but it's better than taking that back down to zero on the trend line not holding. A little bit of reaction in the ticks, just slightly. And look at your AD. 2,000 is that level where we look at it as like being pegged, so to speak. Not really pegged. I mean, it's not pegged. Pegged is this. This is pegged AD when it's across sideways. But what I should say is 2,000 is the kind of the magic number, meaning that anything 2,000 or under, it's bearish. Market is that's a very, very bearish signal in the AD. And look at your breadth now, ballooning out to 4-to-1 negative, getting a little bit more negative. And look at where you're still trading. You're still holding in here. And remember, we wanted to be long at 74-ish, 73.50. We went all the way down here to 70.5. So it doesn't look all that good. All right, there's a little bit of action in the ticks. Look, it's still no reaction here. Absolutely no reaction. So again, I think we did the right thing. We're still trading 73. We would still be slightly underwater, 72.75. We'd be underwater. Remember, reaction at trend line should be immediate. You should not be hanging out there for a while. And if this 15-minute bar now closes bearish, right, which is going to be in 9 minutes, right, closes bearish right on the line, well, what does that tell you? Probably the next 15-minute bar will be lower. The trend line touch, this isn't a trend line touch, this is just the first establishment of it, but you see this bar here? This is what it should look like. It should hit your limit orders, bam, and turn right back around, and your trade should be in profit like within 5 seconds. And then you'll be looking to where you're going to limit out and put your stop break even, etc. And this also, is telling me, just not even moving at all, just right there. All right, fast forward a little bit. It's 11:54 a.m. and look where we are now. 71.50. So that's it, right? No hold whatsoever, and below this support now. And now you should, potentially move lower, and the trade would not have worked out. So we did the exact right thing, not buying it. And again, I hope this was helpful to you. This was like essentially no trade other than that little scalp. against that level for a couple points. But what's more important is showing this, is knowing when you see internals this way, what are the clues you should be looking for that the bounce is probably not going to occur at your technical level, and basically knowing when to hold them, when to fold them, when to stay away from the trade.